I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no love. Oh, my smile, my mind reassure me I don't need no one. Woke up this morning with my mind set on loving me.
Y'all, it's that earthy black girl back at it again with another video. As y'all read in that title, we're going to be talking about purposeful living and how that starts with trusting God and believing in his plan. I do have a little planner right here, so if you do see me looking down, I'm just making sure I stay on track, because one thing about me, I will go from one topic to the next. So let's get into it. I feel like as believers, or just people in faith or who have faith in God, we've all heard this verse. We all heard of Jeremiah 29:11 on how God knows the plans he has for you. But let's really talk about it. What does that actually mean? One thing about God, he don't make mistakes. So even when something doesn't really go your way or how you intended it to, everything happens for a reason. In previous videos, I talked about, my car journey. If you haven't seen it yet, go ahead and click on it. But I talked about how I really wanted this Nissan. It was a used car, one payment thing, and I really, really wanted it. And I prayed about it, and I was like, God, give me a sign. Am I going to get this car? Is this car part of my journey? Is this car significant? And God gave me a sign that it was significant, and I never understood because I never end up getting that car. God, you said this, what happened? And I would question God about it because it's what? And then come to find out, God blessed me with a newer car, fresh off the lot. And it was this car was part of my purpose, just not in the way that I thought it was. So in that moment, it just really made me confused. But the moment I let go and let God and trusted in God's journey, everything was clear. Because God doesn't make mistakes. Your purpose was planted by God for a reason. You ever wonder why you have that dream or that goal? It's because God planted there. I feel like God doesn't just make people just to make people. Each person on this earth has a reason and a season, and they're supposed to be here for a reason. For example, I'm really into maternal mortality rates and black women and trying to fix those statistics. And at first, I wasn't always into that. When I came to college, my mom wanted me to do business major in accounting because I was good at math. So I just did it, but it wasn't really something I wanted to do. And once I started looking at the statistics, even on TikTok or social media, and I realized how bad it was, I just felt it in my heart, and that's how I knew it was from God. And ever since then, the path has been clear. Finding internships or finding things related, especially environmental justice, because that relates really closely to my topic of interest. Just finding things, no matter what my GPA is, no matter what criteria it's asking for, I tend to always get those resources because it's what God intended for me. When you follow God's purpose instead of your own, that's how you know it's from God. Let me make that clearer. You know it's from God when it's clear. When it's confused, when it causes confusion and doubt, whether that be a friendship or a relationship, that's how you know it's not from God. Anything that comes from God is going to be clear, and that's one of your number one indicators. Man's doubt don't cancel God's purpose. For example, me being in school, when it comes to tests and stuff, you already know how school is. I feel like school, in my personal opinion, it doesn't really teach you to teach you and learn about the subject. Sometimes it tends to teach you to pass a test. So my grades, I don't have a 4.0. I'm gonna keep it real with y'all. I don't have a 4.0. I'm close to a 3.0. I have about a 2.9 right now. And a lot of professors and teachers have told me it's going to be harder for you. You may not get an internship. You may not get something this summer. But God said otherwise. Right now I have one internship, and I'm very thankful for it. And I'm very blessed, and it came from God, because man's doubt does not cancel God's plan. If God says you're going to do something, you're going to do it, and nobody can stop that, because it's God's plan. So of course I still applied myself. I did not listen to anybody who said it was going to be hard, because I know who I believe in, and I kept applying, and not kept applying, but I kept looking, and I found 2 things I was really interested in. And I got an interview for both. I found out I was accepted to one of those. The other one, I did an interview today. So I'm just kind of waiting to hear back. Hopefully I get it, but if I don't get it, one thing I learned about God is more so like rejection is just redirection. And at the end of the day, if God closes one door, it's because a better one is open. Like when it came to the car, when it came to friendships, like right now I'm kind of in the season of isolation where I'm just, staying to myself, focusing on myself. I love everybody that I was blessed to be friends with, and I do have, a few friends, but I've still been in a period of isolation just to, get closer to God, just to see what God has for me and my plans, just to stay focused on the path that God put me on, just to, really get into alignment. And one thing I realized with trusting God is to let go of that timeline. You know how everybody has a timeline? Oh, I want to be married at this age. I want to be engaged at this age. I want to have kids at this age. But sometimes when you focus too much on a timeline, you don't give God the chance to show you what he has in store for you. Because at the end of the day, you can have a timeline to get married at 28 or 30, but God may not see it fit for you to get married until you're 40. Yeah, it may not be something you want, but God made you wait for a reason. I notice when I just let go and let God, my life is so much easier. I don't have to worry about anything, because whether it is good or bad, I know God allowed that thing to happen for a reason. Even when it was something so hurtful as like losing both of my grandparents and, recently losing my friend, I had to realize that, especially with my grandparents, they were really sick. I had to realize and put it into my perspective. If I was sick, if it was hard for me to breathe, would I even want to be here? Like, let's be real. Like, I've always been the type of person, if I ever got that sick and it's hard for me to function properly, what's the point of living if you're not happy? So God took them home for a reason, because it was their time to be with him. And that's okay. And yes, it took me a long time, a really, really long time, to accept that truth and to kind of essentially get over it. But once I did and started putting my faith in the Lord and trusting God, life was so much easier. Because confidence comes from trust and faith. Not knowing every step, but trusting God with the path. You may not know every step is going to take or where exactly God sees you at, because, some people don't know what they want to do when they grow up. Some people don't know the next step to their path. But just trusting in God and knowing that God is going to reveal those things to you when time is due makes life so much easier. Like, God doesn't call us here to worry or doubt. God calls us here to serve him and be happy. I honestly feel like God wants everybody to be happy. So your purpose is going to be in alignment with God. Like, he placed each and every one of y'all here for a reason. So just know, like, if you're ever in doubt, if you ever feel like, God, why me? God, what is my purpose? What is this? Just pray about it and have faith that God will give you the answers in due time. And just know, if you're also in a season of isolation, or you feel like, God has like kind of shielded you away from the world, just realize that isolation is preparation and not punishment. Sometimes God has to remove everything in your life in order to fulfill you and put the right things in your life. Like, even if it's losing that job, like I've lost, a lot of serving jobs that I did, and then God replaced it with internships, things that revolved around what I wanted to do and what I needed to do to fulfill God's purpose for me, to fulfill God's plan for me. So whether it is good or bad, just know that God does everything for a reason. God does everything for a reason. I'm saying it a million times because I want y'all to leave this video knowing that. And just remember, your story could easily be somebody's breakthrough. I know a lot of people who tell me that the way, I handled everything, because when I tell you I lost my grandparents back to back, like one grandparent passed away in November. The next one passed away like, a few months after that. And then having a friend pass away a few months after that, like all three deaths in under, a year and a half. And I'm still able to function. Yes, I have my bad days. Yes, I have my days where I don't want to get up. Yes, I have my bad days every once in a while. But what keeps me up is knowing that God woke me up. That went 8 right there. Let me say it again. What keeps me up is knowing that God woke me up. So Just know, if y'all don't remember anything else, trust God's plan versus your own plan. Find purpose in every season, whether that is good or bad. And to get from confused to confidence, it all really relies on trusting God and knowing that He has plans for you, plans to prosper and to help you, not to harm you. Y'all, just really read Jeremiah 29:11. When in doubt, just read that verse. Anytime that I'm going through it, where I really just need a reminder of God's grace, God's love, God's plan, I always turn back to Jeremiah 29:11. If you don't know that verse, I will link it in the bio. And without further ado, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope it meant something to you and you got something from it. And remember to be you unapologetically and freely. Bye!
Though I walk through the darkest valley, I will fear no love. Oh, my smile, my mind reassure me I don't need no one. Woke up this morning with my mind